Hi, I'm Emily Stevenson, co-founder of Beach Guardian down in the southwest of England. I'm currently on Travone Beach in North Cornwall, and I've just done a beach clean and found all of this plastic that's washed in on the tide onto the beach. In 2019, I was delighted to be recognised by the Rotary Young Citizen Award. I love working with Rotary to help support and protect our environment, and every time I do work with Rotary, they're always so encouraging, helping me to grow and achieve my full potential. As an example, with collaborations we've done in the past, we've joined 3 of our local Rotary clubs on a litter pick for World Cleanup Day 2019, where we cleaned the riverbed in Truro, thus stopping all of the plastic from entering the ocean in the first place. It was absolutely phenomenal, and Rotary certainly delivered. We removed kilos and kilos of plastic from the environment. Beach Guardian aims to engage, educate and empower against plastic pollution. An example of this is when I wore my dress made out of Walker's crisp packets to my graduation in 2018. This, along with other campaigns at the time, led to Walker's introducing the very first nationwide crisp packet recycling scheme. The future is incredibly exciting for Beach Guardian, and I cannot wait for all of the future collaborations with Rotary and supporting them in their new area of supporting the environment.
I'm in Aberystwyth and we've had a successful beach clean this morning. Plastic is becoming the scourge of the nation, and in Rotary we are pushing to have all clubs interested in the cleanup of plastics wherever they can, whether it be beach, river, canal, waterway, whatever, so that people can see what we're doing, people of action.
I saw that there was a clean going on today, and I thought I'd come along, and I didn't know it was anything to do with the Rotary Club, but I'm always looking for opportunity to help clean up the environment in any way I can.
Today has been about getting Rotarians from all up and down the coast to come and help here, so it's been wonderful to see so many members here. The success I've seen so far is being told off by parents who say, we can't even get on the beach now without the kids doing a litter pick first, what's going on?
I got involved with the Rotary Club when I was 15. I entered the Young Chef competition with my school, and that's kind of one of the things that got me cooking, given me the confidence to keep going and got me onto Bake Off in the long run, so it's been really important in my life.
I absolutely love Rotary. They're having a massive amount to do with this challenge. Their logo is on my boat. They're just so willing and so passionate to help people and help them achieve what they want to achieve that I want to be involved with those sorts of people.
People who think, well, what can I do? Rotary gives them, all those people, a chance to do something, and I think they're tremendous.
I do actually remember when the news came through that India was polio free, and it felt like such an amazing milestone just because I'd been there and I'd done some work out there with Rotary. Imagine if that extended to the whole world being polio free. That would just be such an amazing achievement.
It's hard to put into words what Rotary have done for this campaign. It's absolutely astounding. I don't think enough people know just how much money Rotary has put in, billions, since they began the Rotary campaign 30 years ago, and just how much work the Rotary members have put into raise awareness and to help vaccinate children all over the world. I think they're owed a massive thank you for what they've done, and I'll be there as an ambassador with Rotary all the way until the end.
Wherever I go in doing my work, the Rotarians have been there before me. It is a very humbling thing to discover just exactly what putting service before yourself adds up to when you see it in practice on the field. When polio is finally eradicated, and you know it will be soon, you stand surely in the first chapter of that book. I admire the Rotary Club's interventions so much. They're well thought out and enacted, and so I thought nowhere better than right on the field to send you my very best and really offer thanks and gratitude to what you're all doing. From Bono, in Accra. Thanks again.
This is the story of historic progress, a story that doesn't exist without you. Rotary's unifying effort in over 3 decades of action demonstrates our commitment and endurance, and our progress so far shows that a polio-free world is achievable. Rotarians, their clubs, our partners and governments share a collective vision to improve the health of every single child in the world. We've eliminated polio in some of the most difficult places, overcoming obstacles and navigating complex issues. This year, Africa has finally been declared polio-free, and our successes prove that polio will be eradicated. While ending a global disease is not easy, as Rotary, we don't give up. We will continue our fight until each child is protected. We are so close to achieving our goal, and we will be pushing forward because eradicating polio will improve lives, prevent children being paralysed by this disease. We're investing in the future. If we don't eradicate this disease, it will come back and affect many others. We're improving child health. The protocols in place help monitor many other aspects of child health. By eradicating this disease, we will be saving billions on future health care. When we succeed, polio will be only the second disease to be eliminated from the world. The work done so far to spread the polio vaccine has helped immensely in the recent COVID-19 outbreak. This isn't possible without your support. Help us to keep our promise to the world and help us get rid of this disease.
For over 100 years, Rotary members have taken action when challenges arise. We know what people can do when they come together and put others before themselves.
The team lead said they will continue the campaign to fight against the coronavirus.
Local Rotary clubs deliver food and supplies to people in need.
Strangers become friends, helping hands multiply, and problems turn into solutions. We are Rotary. We are people of action. Learn more at rotary.org/action.
From what I understand, the Bentley Cheshire Rotary Club is the first corporate Rotary club in the UK, and we're very proud to be that. I'm Sally Hepton, and I'm a member of Bentley Cheshire Rotary, and I'm also responsible for corporate social responsibility at Bentley Motors in Crewe. We were really looking to find a way to get our colleagues to engage in the community and to volunteer, and this has really taken off.
My name is Amarjeet Singh Sabharwal. I come from India. I work at Bentley in the internal audit department. I thought the best way for me to give back to society is to help the people who are less fortunate. And what I've learned from Rotary is that every random act of kindness is going to change the world. I'm doing my part by trying to help, trying to coordinate with my Bentley colleagues and help the less fortunate people. That's the idea of Rotary for me.
My name's Carmel Cunliffe. I'm Assistant Head Teacher at Readings Business and Enterprise School in Oswald Twizzle, and I'm also a corporate member of the Rotary Church and Oswald Twizzle Rotary Club. For us as a school, it's a fantastic association because we have lots of opportunities for our young people that allow those students to gain experience in working with other people in the community and helping with lots of good causes.
My name's Becky Bird and I am part of the Frome Town Rotary. We're a relatively new club, so I'll be our third president. All of our members are working. When we founded the group, that was the acceptance that we will give as much as we possibly can as working members. We've got a broad spectrum of ages, professions, abilities, skills. It's an instant group of friends, which is really good.
I'm busy with my business, which is very limited time to involve in Rotary. Each club member is just new thing of the Rotary, which is very flexible. I can do a meeting regular, but it's also online.
Rotary was never really on my radar at all, and the more I looked into it, the more I thought it was relevant, particularly in the new guise of our club, with its flexibility, which allows me as a working person to still commit, but also not feel as though I'm missing out when I'm working away. So my message would be to anybody, well, if you have the opportunity to join Rotary, then try it and see what happens.
I'm Lou McCance-Price. I'm president of Putney Rotary Club in London, coming to you from my voice acting studio in southwest London. My Rotary journey started when I was a young teenager. I went to New Mexico, USA, as a Rotary exchange student from Cape Town for a year's Rotary exchange. That was a life-changing experience. I learned resilience. I learned how to walk into a room and make new friends and engage with people. So was Rotary for me? Is Rotary for me? Absolutely, it's been a part of my life from a teenager.
Even though I didn't feel Rotary was for me, I've always been somebody who was a Rotarian, I just didn't know it. I'm a single woman, black, working class, and I just did not think that that was who Rotary was for at all. I didn't realise that it was for everybody in the community. Wherever you go, you've got friends, whether it's in your own city, whether it's in your own country, whether it's across the world. I found the welcome as being really incredible.
Rotary is one of the most powerful international organisations that a young person can be involved in. You're making friends, you're meeting like-minded people, you're meeting incredibly diverse people. The biggest thing that Rotary has been able to provide me is not just opportunities and experiences to go and do things myself, but to have this wealth of knowledge and experience on everything.
Many years ago, I wouldn't have thought, as this kid coming from a very remote community in southeastern Nigeria, that being the district governor of Rotary in London would have been something for a person like me. But here we are. Leadership in Rotary does not really depend on where you come from or the color of your skin or the job you do, but the passion you have to serve.
Rotarians are called to be people of action. We're working on a project in Beirut raising funds for a hospital that was damaged in their explosion in August. Being involved in Rotary and doing good in the world and taking on projects that uplift and inspire and make a difference is so fulfilling. It's an incredible organisation to be a part of. No matter where you're from, there's a place for you in the Rotary family.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to session 2 of this, the multi-district PETS for 1080, 1240 and 1260. Some inspirational videos there. I hope you enjoyed those, and you'll get a chance to see some more as we go through the weekend ahead of each starting session. Today then, we're going to kick off in a moment with some breakouts, but I hear that the feedback says that you all had enjoyable and valuable evenings last night with your district teams. So thank you for that. They were really well attended. And as I'm looking now, the numbers of participants are creeping up rapidly once again. This morning, we shall first break out into discussion rooms to look at the most important topic of planning your year. And the way that will work is everybody will be split into breakouts automatically shortly. After that, we'll have a brief leg stretch. And then what I know will be an entertaining as well as an instructional presentation by our second guest speaker, Chris Wells. Finally, we then move once more to the district rooms, as you did yesterday evening, for some more input from your DGE and their team. So now I'll ask our technical director to do his magic, and he will distribute us to our breakout rooms. I must add that this is an automated process, and with Zoom, it may take a moment or two for everybody to be assigned to their rooms. If you're left straggling in the main room, then the team will allocate you manually out to the breakouts. It is possible that observers will be allocated to rooms, but I must remind observers, please, that you're in listening mode if you do, and obviously you're at liberty to leave, but the PEs, you're there for the duration. So thanks very much, everybody, and we'll have 40 minutes in this session, so we'll get a 2-minute reminder at the end to close down. Okay, so thanks, Phil. Do your magic. I'm just clicking through the screens there, and it looks like most of the windows now all have a face in them, which is fantastic. So thank you for coming back so promptly. Let's move on then. So welcome back once again. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for the next 30 minutes. And that speaker is Chris Wells. Chris was the creator of the Rotaract philosophy of do-goodery, and which he presented at a number of conferences. You've seen this around, some of you, and even at the Rotary International Convention in Hamburg, where he presented it in front of a huge audience to great applause. So well done, Chris, on that. He will now keep us informed with his new topic, which is innovation isn't scary, I promise. Fellow Rotarians, then present to you Chris Wells.
Hi everybody. Can we all hear me okay? This is all very peculiar. Cool, I like it. I can see a bit of thumbs up. That's good. Okay, hi everyone. Yeah, so I'm Chris Wells, Rotaractor and Rotarian, set up the Market Harbour Club, and doing very well, and still has been doing well, and I hope to share a bit about that as well. But like, I think we just need to acknowledge at the start of all of this that we have had like a doozy of a year. Let's be honest. Let's be 100% honest. A bit of a doozy of a year because of the C word, because of COVID-19. And I feel like we all need to have a minute now, and I want to just see, because this is the first time I'm ever doing this, I want to see, I want everyone either in the chat or just like to themselves, just have a big moment, okay? So on 3, just get in your chat and go like, and get ready just to express those feelings. I just want to see that, because to be honest, I would love to have done this in a room full of people, but I think if we all just on 3, 1, 2, 3, there we go. COVID-19. Oh, what a time. I just feel like we needed to get that out there. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to, as we've done that now, I'm enjoying the R's. I'm also enjoying all the different spellings of R's. We've got args and and R's. Like, it's very important. I'm just going to just share my screen on this now. We should be able to see innovation isn't scary, I promise. And let me just, so innovation isn't scary, I promise. And scared you there. And actually, let's be honest, I was going to originally do a big PowerPoint, was going to do all of this, and I then heard that apparently having lots of slides can add to Zoom fatigue and can actually cause people to get a bit tired and overwhelmed and bored and blah, and actually just having a face-to-face like this works quite well. So I decided to kind of try something different, which, to be honest, is absolutely terrifying. And that means I also kind of lied saying innovation isn't scary, or did I? But let's keep going. So the thing is the thing that I'm actually scared of is another C word, and that C word is change. Change is very scary. It can be very difficult. Sometimes you don't even want it. Nobody wants change sometimes. And actually, when it's taken out of control, when it's taken out of your own thing, it can be very, very distressing and bothersome, as this year and your ARGs have very beautifully shown. And the thing is it affects all of us. The thing about this is that about COVID-19 is that we're all in the same boat on this, and a lot of us have been forced to make changes, have been forced to try different things. And this comes up to me right now. Normally I'm on a stage, and my last speech in Hamburg was 15 minutes and it had 80 slides, because I love my slides. I love going through, and I like using them to exemplify, to just put across a point or show a nice picture. Just keep going, like doing all like that. And it's quite good because it also keeps me in the flow, and I can just be like picture, picture, picture. And the problem that I have now is I'm just doing this, I'm just talking to you guys, and now I don't have the slides to keep me going. So sometimes I meander a bit. I've got like pages of notes and like things and stuff I'm worried about, but I'm like, no, we need to try this. This is new. So you're on this new thing with me. I've never done a speech like this before. So I wanted to kind of share this with you and be honest that like I am absolutely terrified, and this is scary because of change. And the thing about that is, I remember when all this started happening, and I was in Florida, right? This time last year, I was in Florida doing a speech to a pets group, and it was great. On stage, I think that one had like 90 slides, was going through blah 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 blah, great. And then as I got to the airport on the way home, I started hearing about this COVID thing, about this, and it started going on a bit, and then all of a sudden it really felt like the world was ending. I was in the waiting room, and I just saw all of these flights getting cancelled, and it was awful. And you get that pit in your stomach feeling of like the world was ending, and a lot of stuff was, and a lot of things were very hard. But then after a period of time, we kind of took a minute, and then lockdown happened, and then we're all stuck in together, but it's okay. And then all of a sudden we needed to try and do the things we wanted to do. And with Rotary, as I love to say, it's do-goodery. We want to do more do-goodery, we want to do more things. But how? We're all locked inside. We're not allowed outside now. What do we do? And to be honest, there was a good few weeks of everyone just making those sounds and just worrying about. And I think that's okay. I think sometimes with change, it's all well and good going, you should adapt to change and do all this. But actually, it's just as hard to come to terms with that. And I think if you be patient with yourself, and we all be patient with each other, then we kind of absorb it, and then we adapt and move on. That's literally what we do as humans, isn't it, really? And so, and the thing about change as well is that sometimes we resist it, and we want to do it in a slightly different way. So for example, after doing my speech in Florida, which was like amazing and brilliant, and it was at a pet, so it meant literally all the presidents in Florida wanted me to speak, and now on Zoom they could, and I was doing all these speeches. And I used to do it where I'd share my screen, go slide, and it seemed all right, and it seemed to be going well. And then I heard about that study that said the more slides you show leads to Zoom fatigue, leads to people getting tired, leads to less engagement, because it's just like slide, and it can get quite draining on people. And the thought that I had was, there's this Mitch Hedberg joke, who was a comedian in the 80s and 90s, who used to say, he goes, oh, you're a comedian, brilliant, that means you must write, when's your next sitcom coming out? And he goes, that's really dumb, that's like going up to a world famous chef and being like, hey, you're a world famous chef, do you farm? Like, the link's there, but it isn't necessarily what we think it is. So the thing that I decided to do with my speeches was adapting to the form. So while doing a speech on Zoom and on stage might feel like the same thing, it's not. And that happened with our meetings as well. We were like, right, let's just meet regularly as we do and go through the meetings as we do. We started having our meetings online, started having them live on Zoom. Brilliant, as I'm sure all of you did, and had a great time getting used to knowing how Zoom worked, because it's so fun. And then we had a pink party plan to raise money for breast cancer awareness. We shifted that and tried to do an online version of that. We run a support group for different strokes. Did that all on Zoom. We had our quizzes. We used to do our quizzes in pubs, and we used to get 50, 60 people inside a pub, would raise loads of money, have a nice fun time. We started trying to do quizzes online. And Market Harbour Carnival was a big event, normally 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people in a big field. We then tried to do a live streamed event where we got all of the different vendors and people to film their own little videos, and we live streamed it from this very laptop, in fact. And everything was different, and it was hard. And also we started like experimenting with different things. The carnival thing worked quite nice, but like, you know, wasn't necessarily as big as we wanted it to be. We started getting tired of all these Zoom meetings and all like that because of that C word, change. And it was scary. And like I said, it was scary. Getting used to new things is always hard and is always difficult. But then actually, this speech wasn't about change, was it? It was saying change is scary, yes, but it's about innovation not being scary. And innovation often comes from being forced into change, being forced to change because of the situation, because change is always going to happen. And actually, one of my favorite ever quotes about change is, in fact, I can get it up. My very favorite quote about change, about bravery, is that courage is not the absence of fear, but action in the face of fear. And that apparently was Mark Twain. And then I did some more research, and it's not actually Mark Twain. It might actually be someone else. So for all we know, it was me that was saying it. And the thing is that we can be scared. We can deal with being scared. And actually, as long as you do something about it, as long as you take action, it doesn't matter whether you're scared or not. And that's kind of the thing that we found with this was, sorry, I've got so many buttons to try and press. And while it was scary and while it was hard, what actually came from that was our innovations. So our Rotaract meetings, all of a sudden, instead of being these kind of long, laborious meetings where we go out to the pub, the actual advantage we found was that all of a sudden they were 20 minutes long, and we would just meet up and quickly cover all the things we needed to. And then we started going, well, let's just cover what we need to. And then when we need to meet about something specifically, we'll just set up another meeting, sometimes on the same night, just afterwards. But it means the people that needed to be there would be there, and the people that needed to go could go. So the high level stuff was covered very quickly in a meeting, and then we started meetings about that, and then we started getting better organized, and from that our energy started coming back. And we actually through all of this ended up doing more stuff than we would have done on a normal year. We ended up doing more quizzes, and in fact, while our quizzes used to look a lot like this, and this was our setup, the new quiz was this. This was my setup. This was how I saw. This was what I see. This is my room. This is still my room now, by the way. And the difference between those two things actually was about £200-300 ago, because it was online. And because of that, because we innovated and did that stuff online, people that started hearing about us abroad, people that lived across the country, people in Florida, people all across America, people in the Netherlands, were all of a sudden able to take part in our quizzes and to get involved and then donate money and enjoy it and have a good time together. And that was an innovation. That was all of a sudden our quizzes went international, because we had to adapt to that change, because there was no way we'd go into in a pub, we'd all die. But not really, you know what I mean. It was one of those things where we adapted. We were scared, and it was scary. I'm scared. I'm using new technology now to try and do these things, to be like, change. And it is like, I've got so many buttons I need to remember to press, and I've never done this before. I've only practiced this on my own. And obviously it is weird. I'm basically talking to my room and my teddy bears behind me. That's it. That's all that. So it can be difficult like that. But then thinking, once again, the difference between farming and the difference between cooking. Those two things, they look like they have the same thing, but they're not. That was why these speeches, I adapted, I innovated. I started getting a new microphone so I could go close and be like, hello, I'm on the radio now, this is it. And I got a nice microphone. I tried to dress in nice colors. I got some cool lights and a lava lamp that I had to set an alarm for myself to put on 2 hours before the speech, because I forgot lava lamps take ages to get warmed up. And learning all these things, actually, now, even today, I have a speech at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I need to check that after this. In the Netherlands, I'm doing another speech today in that. How else would I have been able, imagine if I could run that fast, or we could all jump and dive that fast to go between, country to country, speaking to all these and doing all that together, meeting those new people. One of the big things I found, actually, a lot of the speeches I started going to do was across clubs, across Florida. It was, and a lot of the clubs, they started innovating. They started doing interesting things. So one of the clubs I went to, they would have a Zoom meeting, and obviously normally Zoom, it's just 100 people on a screen, or 50, 60 people on a screen. And when we go to, when you go to a Rotary Club, you're sat at a table, everyone eats the dinner. So what they do is you go into the group and they put you into tiny little breakout rooms. So you're in little breakout rooms of 4 and 5 people for the first half an hour, for the first 15 minutes of the meetings. So it meant it's like you're going there and you just sat on the table and you're getting to know everybody. And then they pull you out the meetings and they run the meetings and they do it really quick. But to me, that, normally, especially as we all did, we all had those Zoom meetings where everyone's in their pajamas and everyone's just, and we're just going really slow and everything's really boring. And then we go, oh, maybe we could turn off the camera. Maybe I can go to the toilet and while listening to this meeting. You can have all of that, but then doing those new things, doing those innovations allowed more stuff to happen. And all of a sudden, those Rotary clubs are getting international speakers in, getting me speaking from across the pond, getting me going across. All of a sudden, we can do all of these new amazing things. It's not all doom and gloom. And yeah, there's absolutely going to be some things we want back. I would love to go to the pub right now or have a meeting in a pub. But actually, it's probably going to change, to be honest. I think we might meet for once a month in the pub and have a nice meeting, get all that stuff done in person, and do the rest of them in our little 20-minute meetings, because it saves everyone time. It increases commitment and engagement as well, because it's only going to be 20 minutes out your day. It's not going to be, I'm going to have to drive there, I'm going to have to go straight after work. Some people have called in on their way home from work, put in their input, interacted, done all that stuff together. All of those little things add up and allow us to innovate, to do new things, which isn't scary, I promise. While the do-goodery, I'm just going to get it up, sorry. While the can look like this in the outside world, while the do-goodery can look like this in the outside world, we have raised more money over the past year than we had on some of our previous years in Rotaract and do-goodery, from more people as well, from across the world during these hard times. I'd love for do-goodery to be like this again, and it absolutely will, and there's already going to be things like this we've got planned and in the works. But while we can't all stand next to each other, in fact, sometimes I find looking at pictures of people standing next to each other can be quite like, oh, like the picture just above my head there, I'm like, oh, they're all really close, that's not COVID safe. We can look like this. This is what the new do-goodery, this is what our do-goodery was last year. Everyone around their laptops, everybody doing things. And even though, everyone's separate and everyone's safe, we're still doing it. We're still doing that do-goodery, because the most important thing and the most important advice I can give you about all of this is just to remember your goal. Remember what you're here for. Even with all the change, even with all of that, remember why we're here. We can call it do-goodery, and I call it all things like that. But even when it comes down to doing a meeting, right, what is the point of this meeting? It's to get this information across. Okay, can we do it shorter? Can we do it? How can we do it interestingly? My idea today, I need to tell you about innovation, tell you about change, not talk about the dreaded COVID-19 and do things like that. How can I do that differently? And from that, the innovation came from me trying and learning new different things. I now know this weird streaming software, which is a massive, complicated pain in the bum, but now I have those skills, I have those things that I can bring forward, and actually it's being able to embrace that change, and do all things like this. And I think it's really important to remember that. And as I said at the start, take time with yourself as well. Be patient with yourself, be patient with your club, be patient with each other, because change is hard, change is scary, but innovation isn't. Innovation isn't at all, I promise. It is literally a good result that can come from change. And if you remember that goal, if that goal is do-goodery, that goal is doing more good, making the world a better place, having more effective meetings, then that change can be embraced and turned into that innovation. And that is essentially, if I could offer those things, that would be what I've got. I've accidentally done this so fast, I think I finished a few minutes early. But I would genuinely, so I'm really sorry. I had timed this out, I had done this all good, and then I've gone, and then I think I got very excited and talked it through. But I will, yeah, it's one of those things where the more places and the more things, the more we share, the more we talk to each other, we're all in the same boat. And everybody, as long as you're on the same page on what you want, you're not on, I want to look big, I want to look cool, I want to this. As long as everyone's in for the same reason, like I said, it's do-goodery. We want to run this project. Then I really think keeping that focus and remembering that we're all in the same boat, then we can innovate together.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chris. That was fantastic. I think Chris Davies might have one or two little questions for you. Chris, are you online there? Can you unmute? And is she unmuting? Phil's doing his magic with her, I think.
That's the thing with us, Chris, is we get hard on the mutes.
Well, hard on the mutes, but it's finding you in the list is the difficult bit. But Chris, that was fantastic. So, I mean, tell us about the meeting this afternoon. Who are you talking to?
It is I think it's at a conference across the Netherlands. They're using Microsoft Teams and not Zoom as well. So that is I'm a bit nervous about that, but I think it's a Rotaract and Rotary event because they do a lot of things across massive areas. So funnily enough, the only two places after Hamburg, the only two places I got to speak to were Florida and the Netherlands, and then the world shut down. So I feel like I'm wanted and famous in Florida and the Netherlands and nowhere else. So, which is still quite nice, and everyone's very lovely. It's just very exciting and interesting.
Brilliant. Great. We found Chris. Excellent. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. A question for Chris.
Chris, I think one of the questions that seems to be coming up, apart from all the excellence that have been coming up in the chat, one of the questions is that I think you talk about innovation. What is the link then that takes us from change to innovation?
I think reacting to change often leads to innovation. So innovation is one of those things that sounds nice and is a nice big fancy word to put on things, but then it actually requires doing something different. It actually requires having to change to make a, not necessarily a sacrifice, but adapting, doing something different. And often doing that something different and then doing something new can lead to those new, exciting, innovative ideas. But I think sometimes people like to say, oh yes, we're very innovative. Oh no, but we don't do things differently here. No. So yeah, I think and like I said, change is scary, but then innovation in itself doesn't often feel scary when actually they're very closely linked.
Thanks, Chris. One of the other things I think that people were interested in is that you talked about your club actually using, one of them uses a house party link, or I know others use WhatsApp. What's the advantage of using those sort of social media type ones?
Stuff like social media, stuff like WhatsApp especially, is that it's instant and quite quick. You don't have to wait until the next meeting to get an update, or if something's changed, then you can quickly go, hey, is anyone about for this? And it almost allows you to very quickly do the equivalent of standing up in a meeting, being like, oh, everybody, I've just got the news in, it's this. And actually you can do that at any point, and it almost allows everybody to keep in that instant communication with each other. Obviously with that comes risks, because sometimes people just will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But if you allow yourself to kind of control for that and adapt to that, then it means that, like, yeah, if anything comes up very quickly, or, you know, you suddenly need a change, or you suddenly need a volunteer for something because something's changed, that change, it will allow you to kind of adapt and kind of react a lot quicker than it would do of going, right, let's go to this place and wait for this meeting. Oh, actually, yeah, then you have that meeting where all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, everything went wrong, sorry, bye. Now it's like, right, everything went wrong, but luckily Chris was on the other end of the phone and we were able to get everyone in quick now.
Great, thank you for that. If you are using media like WhatsApp, and I noticed the E-Club of Innovation is using Teams, and we have our own global hub on Teams, what do you do about minutes?
We still, so on live meetings, we do it exactly the same way. We have someone that takes minutes. In fact, we use Google Docs for our minutes. You can do it with Word now as well. Essentially, using Google Docs, it's a live document online. So I can share the link and you can literally watch me fill it out. So what the senior leadership team of each Rotaract club will do is we share the link with each other, and you can literally watch the minutes be filled in with all the spelling mistakes that you can ever see. And the advantage of doing it that way, when we send the minutes out, we send it as a link, not as a document. And it means if there are any last minute changes to the minutes, you can actually do it without having to retract or adapt an email. You just know that that minutes is always going to be the most up-to-date document on there. And it also means that sometimes the secretary can be writing and then might need to quickly do something, and then the president can quickly take over and writing some of the extra bits. So it allows the minutes to be filled out and kind of done a lot quicker than it normally would, than either writing it down or doing it on like an offline Word document.
Thanks very much, Chris. And I guess looking at Dennis, this might be a final question, yes?
Yeah, last one, please.
One of the questions that's being talked about is, if you're a Rotary club that doesn't have people that are used to using social media, how can you actually find out about how to do this?
I think talking to Rotaractors and involving others, talking to as many, and not being scared to talk with others either, and being patient with them and yourself. I think we all started, just because we started earlier doesn't mean that you won't get to the point that we're at. I think it's involving others, talking to other people. My sister's 10 years younger than me, and stuff like certain features on WhatsApp, no idea that we had until she taught me. And then, you know, it's not being afraid to learn and grow and learn with others. And also just to fully acknowledge and take this from a semi-youngish person, is that a lot of it doesn't make sense. A lot of it's really silly. It's got a lot of idiosyncrasies that you have to kind of get your head round. So don't worry if things are not as easy as you think they should be, because they're not. They're not. Don't worry. Some of the stuff's stupid. It just takes a little longer to get adapted to it. So sometimes it's not as user-friendly as you think it might be.
Thanks very much.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Chris, for that. All the questions coming in there. And thanks, Chris. Fantastic presentation once again. I've seen you talk a number of times, and the chat that was coming through was excited, and you really have sparked some things there. So brilliant. Thanks for your contribution today on behalf of everybody, and good luck this afternoon with the conference call as well. So that's great.
Thank you all ever so much for taking your time listening to me and letting me in, and just being all your amazing great selves as well. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed. Okay, everybody, look, we talked about planning your year earlier on in the breakout groups. Chris has chucked some more scenarios in there, some more options for making meetings exciting. And as I said earlier on, it sounded to me from the group I was in that it's about recovery of that meeting culture and so forth moving forward. So thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody, for that. We're now going to rejoin your district governors for the next district focus session. However, please be sure to come back to this room for a 1400, 2 o'clock start for our third session. But come on early, come on at 1:45 if you can, and see another set of promotional videos, the latest and greatest. Remember, this afternoon we've got the session, but we've also got the honour of listening to Rotary International President-elect Shaker. He's going to be joining us live to take to give us a talk about his theme and also to take some questions, which Chris will be getting together and dealing with the same way as we did there. So thank you very much, everybody. Now rejoin your district Zoom sessions. Leave this link and press the other button. Thanks so much. See you at 2.